Studios. I'm Betty Brennan, the owner of the company, and this is Mark Dams, our model shop lead specialist. Wait a minute, not lead specialist. We're changing titles, but he's the sculpture guru, we'll call him.
I like that.
Yeah. So Mark, I think our listeners would want to know like your background and how you got to Taylor Studios,
Sure.
how long you worked here.
Okay. Well, I've always been a creative kid, and I went to school to be a makeup artist, special effects, practical effects. So I went to Florida to do that, and then I'm from this area. And I got into animatronics and doing furred animals, lions, bears, things like that for theme parks, restaurants, stuff like that. And then I decided to move home and go back to school. And so I was going back to school here, and I saw your ad on the news. It was on Channel 3 News, and it was
Cool.
it's for a Native American project of some sort. I'm not sure what it was. You had everything in a black background, and then sculptors were working, and I thought that was really cool. So I applied.
Cool.
And I've been here for 16 years.
Lucky us. He's been instrumental in our success for sure. So, what do you do here on a daily basis?
Ooh, on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Lately, it's wrangling for jobs. As a department lead and a job lead, it's my job to make sure everybody's daily tasks can be done. We have the materials, we have the information we need, everything's going fine. It's going the direction the client and the designer wants it to go. And then in between that, then I work on my projects that are assigned to me as well.
What are some of the projects you're working on right now?
Right now, I just moved off of the Marine Corps Museum, so I was working on a couple figures for that, and now I'm working on Indiana State Museum, and they're redoing their Ice Age exhibit. So there's a large corner diorama of the McGinnity Cave dig. One of the archaeologists that's on staff there found a prehistoric wolf and pig skeleton in the bottom of this crevice, we'll say, when he was down in the cave, and they wanted to show that in a museum. And originally, when they put it in 15 years ago, they set it up in the corner, and it was a little confusing to the audience as to the viewing angle, because this is down in this hole. So to make that possible for somebody, ADA in a wheelchair or anybody walking by, they had to cut the side of it out. But that doesn't really make sense because it's not an open cave. So so we're adding to the cave to try and tell the story a little
More
better,
accurately.
a little more accurately.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. What's your favorite time period?
Ooh.
I love the Ice Age, as I'm setting you up.
Yeah. I guess it's modern history for me.
Yeah.
We've done National Civil War Museum.
Yeah, so maybe talk about your favorite project in that 16 years here.
Okay. One of them would be the National Civil War Museum. It was actually my first project here. And I guess it's my favorite because I was new, and it was exciting to start in this field and to be a part of that big of a museum right off the bat was pretty epic for me.
They set a high bar for us. I remember the director of that museum basically said to us that our figures would be the thing that would make the story. The emotions that people saw in the figures, and Mark and the team, I mean, those figures are really awesome. And it's what, draws out the emotion of the visitor as they go through that museum to see the facial expressions of the figures and so forth. So, I mean, you kick butt for sure.
Yeah, and it's, that's part of the reason you stay at a company like this, is you learn and you grow as an artist from everyone you work around. There was a lot of, talented people on that crew, and being able to work side by side with them, you learn a lot. So
Right,
you're able to grow.
Yeah. What's the strangest exhibit or funniest exhibit you've worked on, or something funny that happened?
Ooh, something
Got
funny.
Any stories you could tell us that?
Well, I don't know about funny. It's strangest. I don't know, like the whale job. That we did a northern right whale, and we were getting into it and we were looking at the markings and everything, and then as we got into the research and the anatomy of it, the markings on the whale that they actually can track and number them by is actually whale lice. It's
Whale
colonies
lice.
of lice living on their faces.
That's
And
how
it
they
was-
identify each individual whale.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it grows. There's certain types of skin that grow above their eyes and their chins, and they just latch on.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of gross, but it's always the weirdest thing.
That is pretty weird. That's another favorite project of yours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, we had to get a life-size right whale through double doors.
It's true. It's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
So there was lots of chopping and hacking it apart in strategic places.
Yeah.
Everything goes back together seamlessly, and the audience never knows. But
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of times every exhibit has to go through a double door.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe talk about some of the skill sets you've had to use that you have over the years, and because it's certainly diverse from painting to sculpting to installation, and
Yeah, the sculpting and the painting are probably my favorites. I get real satisfaction out of that when I can finish painting a piece and it looks exactly the way I want it to. It's a good feeling. But I have to be a welder and a carpenter and sometimes a plumber.
right, the water exhibits. Yeah.
Typically, if I'm a carpenter, it was a change on site or something like that, where I have to rebuild something. The client wanted something a little different, or something like that.
Right.
But I still utilize a
Diverse skill set. Yeah.
broad spectrum.
Yeah, and then as a department, a head of the department, a specialist, just learning scheduling and managing and coaching the staff is part of what Mark does too, and training and all of that.
Yeah.
Keeping a project organized, what materials do we need to order, but don't order too many because it'll cost too much.
Yeah, no one likes to see a pallet of Poly Gym sitting on the shelf.
Right, yeah. So there's a lot of responsibilities as a
But
specialist here.
it's interesting and rewarding, I guess, to bring in younger people and the new generation or whatever, and help them along, because I was there.
Yeah.
And that everybody comes in with a skill set and value, but certainly we make them grow.
Got to learn the ropes. Yeah. Well, and you could talk a little bit about what you do for fun or at night, or like, hey, what are you gonna do tonight?
All right. Well, I'm gonna clock out here and go across the building to the haunted house. So we started a haunted house here at Taylor Studios 5 years ago. This will be the 5th season. So Betty gave up quite a bit of her building space, actually, and
It's 10,000 square foot.
Yeah. We've set up the haunted house, and we've ran it pretty successfully for 5 years now. So it's July. It's a little bit of a late start, but we're getting started tonight.
Do some secret CI revamping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll have to wait and see.
Right.
And the name of it?
Baldwin Asylum.
Yeah. So if you're local, you got to come to that this fall. Halloween.
Absolutely.
You'll wet your
Absolutely.
pants. Yeah. So what else should we tell our visitors? What do you think the Facebook audience would want to know about Mark?
About me.
Right. What's the most rewarding thing here?
Probably, the most rewarding thing for me is every 3 to 4 months I have a different subject matter. I'm not doing the same thing all the time. A lot of it's similar. A lot of nature centers have similar themes, but overall, generally over the 16 years, it's always something different.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see their story and to be able to try and tell it in a three-dimensional way.
Right.
That a visitor can be engaged by.
Yeah. Inspire the visitors on nature and history and everything. Well, thanks, Mark. I think that's been a great interview. We didn't get any questions, but feel free to send them along now, and we'll answer them in the comments. So thanks, Mark, for joining us.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.